fellow crocheters, it's Janet with CrochetPatternsForBeginners.com. Thanks so much for stopping by today. Here we go. What a fun project we're going to do today. This is our third day of my Christmas gifts, free crochet patterns to you guys. And today we're going to make some coasters. These are kind of retro. I'm excited about these. I love the design. And we're going to learn how to carry yarn. So you're going to learn something new today, but this is still a very beginner-friendly thing. And I don't know, the first time I ever learned how to carry yarn, I just got so excited because I felt like a whole new level of design opened up to me. So I hope you guys enjoy this, and let's get started. You're going to need an H crochet hook, okay, and that's a 5mm, a pair of scissors, a yarn needle, and I can't say enough about these bent yarn needles. Guys, if you haven't tried this, I'm telling you, I love these bent yarn needles. I didn't even know about them, and isn't that embarrassing? I've been crocheting since I was 8 years old, and I'm in my 50s, so that should give you an idea of how long I've been doing this. And these bent yarn needles, they rock, I'm telling you. Okay, and you're going to need 3 colors of yarn. I've got a gold color, an off-white color, and a black color. And I'm just using Karen 1 pound, and then this gold color is, I believe this is Hobby Lobby. So they're all worsted weight number 4. You're just going to probably need for each one, depending on which style you choose and which color you're going to use for the border. Each one requires between 15 and 30 yards. So just, you could probably use scrap and you'd be fine with that. Today we're going to make the last one of this set, and I'm going to give this to a friend that loves this retro 70s kind of look. It's cool. So what I did here, let me talk about how you can do them in any combination that you want, of course. For me, I just did I did color 1, we'll call color 1, which is an ivory first, and then color 2, which is a black, and then the border was color 3. And then on this one, I did the same thing. I did the ivory, then I did color 3, and then a border of the black. Then on this one, I started with the black, and then I went to the ivory. So I think that's kind of like a good way to balance it all out and make it look cohesive so that they look like a set, because that's what you want to do. And then for presentation, gift presentation, if I was giving these, I just would get a little tiny ribbon that matched and, wrap it around 4 times or whatever and put it in a box and give it to them, because everybody always needs coasters. Coasters are a very popular thing that people never seem to have enough of, and if you give somebody these really cool ones made with love, well, how could you go wrong with that? Okay, let's get started. I gotta check and make sure that I'm making the right one here. Okay, all right, so I'm gonna start with my gold yarn, and this is a really simple pattern, guys. It's single crochet and double crochet, and that is it. So if you don't know how to do single crochet or double crochet, fear not. You can learn on our YouTube channel, which you're already on. Just look for how to single crochet and how to double crochet, and we'll teach you, and you'll get started right away. All right, so today with our H hook, 5mm H hook, we are going to chain 13. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay. Now, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to single crochet into the second chain from the hook. This is the chain that's on the hook. We can't crochet into that. The stitch will just fall out. But we can go into the second one. So single crochet and then double crochet into the next one. Single crochet, double crochet. Single, double, single, double, single, double, single. Okay, before we start the last stitch, just a couple of just hints, clues, helpful hints here. With this pattern, you're always going to end with a double crochet, but you're always going to start the next row with a single crochet. So just keep that in mind. If you get, while you're doing it, if you get a little confused, just remember that rule and you'll be absolutely fine. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to join our second yarn. And we're just making the body right now. We'll do the border last with our double crochet. So if you don't know how to join yarn, we have a video on that. Just look it up, but I'll go over it anyway because this is a double crochet. All right, so we're starting out our double crochet just like we always do. We yarn over, insert our hook, yarn over, okay, and then we pull through the first 2 loops. All right, now normally what we would do is just yarn over again and pull through the last 2 loops. Nope, we're not going to do that step just yet. Okay, we're going to stop right there with our 2 loops before we close, and we're going to join our new color by closing. Okay, then what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and you're going to chain 3. Okay, I'm sorry, excuse me guys, chain 1, forgive me. Just chain 1 and then turn. Okay, now here's the fun part. Drop your tails, make sure you're not holding on to those. Okay, and now we're going to be using color number 2 or the off-white color. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to carry, it's called carry your yarn. If you ever see that in a pattern, this is how you do it. Okay, so we're going to carry our yarn, and what we do is we just lay it right on top of our stitches, and we basically are just crocheting right over that, so that when we come to the end of the row, we can just pick it right back up. It sounds a little intimidating, but it's really not, and once you get it, like I said, you will be changing colors like a boss. Okay, so our first stitch is, remember, our single crochet. Okay, and we're just going to chain right over that. And just pull your tails, don't like pull them so tight that it's going to create a big hole. But just pull it tight enough so that it secures it down. And then once you get past this, the color change, you won't have this problem anymore. It's just this first row with the color change. Okay, our next stitch, remember our pattern is just single, double, single, double. Okay, so we just did a double. Now we're going to do a single and see how we're going right over that yarn. Our stitch is just covering that yarn. Isn't that wonderful? It's just covering it right down. Now I'll give you a clue. Don't pull your working yarn too tight. Okay, but don't pull it loose. If you get to the end of the row and there's like a little loop popping up there, just give it a small tug. But you want your coaster is going to be firm. You'll see when you start this, it's not going to have as much give as a normal crocheted piece does, because you've got these strands that you crocheted over and they're just laying flat. So there's not going to be that much give horizontally like there normally is. So, but you want it to look nice, but you don't want it to look too pulled, and you pull it, the edges will go, crooked, and that's not good. Okay, so we just did a double, so now we're going to do a single. Okay, and then a double. Right, single, double, single. Oops, see? I was talking too much and I got carried away. All right, so single, right over that. Right over the top, just carry it, and once you get the feel of it, it's so easy. It just looks a little uncomfortable at first, but it's not. Okay, so double, right over your yarn, single, double, single, and see, you're just carrying that yarn. It's just laying right on top of those stitches and you're just moving right along. double, single, double, single, double. Okay. All right. See? That is so cool. And it's going to start forming a houndstooth. We'll see that on the next row. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to pretend like we're just finishing that last stitch, that last double crochet. Okay, and remember, we got to close it off with our new yarn because every row we're changing colors. Okay, we're going to do 2 long rows together just to make sure you guys got it, and then you're going to be on your own. These have 11 rows, so we've done 2. Now this is row 3. So chain 1 and turn. Okay, now see, now you also want to pull this yarn around and carry it on top again. Okay, so we're going to single crochet right over and then double crochet. See, we're carrying it right over and we're crocheting right on the top of our yarn. Okay, double. And see, what you're doing is you're actually doing the opposite stitch into the stitch from the previous row. In other words, you're putting a double crochet into the single crochet of the previous row and a single crochet into the double crochet of the previous row. Okay, we're just going to keep going. We're going to carry our yarn right over. Okay, so let's see, single, double, single, double, single. This should be a single here. And we're just going to keep going with our pattern. Across. Okay, so this is a double, single, double, single, double, single, double, single, and double on the last stitch. Okay, here we are in the last stitch, so we're gonna, before we close, we're gonna pick up our color for our next row and close with that, and then we're going to turn. And see, now you can see how it's starting to form that. This is very textured, but it's starting to form those houndstooth. All right, so we're going to chain 1 with our new color. We're going to pull our other color, wrap it around, and bring it with us. We want to bring it 2. Then we're going to single crochet, double, single, and we're just, remember, we're just crocheting right on top of that other color. We don't have to cut it. We don't have to do anything. It's awesome. It's just coming along with us. That's why it's called carrying. We're just carrying it along like a suitcase. Single, double, single, double, right over our yarn. Double. All right, and close it up. Okay, we now have 1, 2, 3, 4 rows. Okay, so in this particular case, the ivory is always an even row and the gold is always an odd row. We're going to end on an odd row. And this is how I designed this. See how this one ended on an odd row, but it was the ivory. I just started with the ivory first. And I did that with these, with the black ones too. See, I made one that was like, that started with the black, and then one that started with the ivory. So you can do whatever you want. It's up to you. I just thought that that would be a nice variation. And again, it is a set, so you do want them to look cohesive. All right, go ahead and get your 11 rows on your coaster and meet me back here, and we're going to put on the border. See you soon. Okay, you've got your 11 rows of houndstooth laid down. And so we're on our last stitch of the 11th row. And if you already closed it out, that's okay. Go ahead and open it back up. Just get your 2 loops on there for the last part. And now we're going to join the yarn just like we did before with our border color. And we're going to chain 1. Okay. We are now done with our 2 houndstooth body colors, so we're just going to cut those. Let's get those out of our way. All right. Now the first thing you're going to want to do is come down here to where you joined your first color, your first change. Just go ahead and give that a knot. You don't want to pull too tight because you're going to pull it that way. And then just make sure that you've got you just check in between and see. You really can't see the yarn that I carried at all. Okay? If you can, before you do anything, just kind of give it a gentle tug on the edges and that will all straighten out. You will not have a problem. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to actually tie. I want to secure this because otherwise it's going to go wonky. So tie my new color, my border color, to this color here. Either one is fine. They're both close. They both came out on the same end. Okay. Remember, don't pull too tight, but just secure. Just secure. That's all you want to do. Okay, now what we're going to do is we are going to crochet a border over these tails. All right, this is the only part that's a little messy, and that's okay. It's all right. What I like to do, and this is just me, this is not anything that a crochet guild or anybody like that tells you would say, but what I do is I just go ahead and I just pull this one back because I'm going to just crochet over this one, and then these two, I'm going to take these down and crochet over those to cover the tails. Okay. So all we're doing here now is we're just going to do a single crochet border. So we finished off with our new color, our border color, and we chained 1. All right, now into that same stitch, that 12th stitch from the 11th row, I want you to go back in there and do 2 more single crochets. Okay, now we have 11 rows, so we might end up putting more than 1 stitch. Normally it's 11 stitches down. It's the same stitch that you have, but remember, we ended some rows with a double crochet, so it's going to be a little bit wider. Here is where there are no rules. You are just going to have to use your best judgment. If your piece is pulling, if your coaster is pulling too tight, for example, let me stop and let's just go back and say this. Okay, so here I have my corner. So on this particular coaster, that's one of those counts as the first one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Really, I have 13. I have 2 extra stitches, or yeah, 2 extra stitches. It's 11 rows and I've got 13 stitches. So like I said, you're going to have to really use your judgment here and just make sure that it's not pulling too tight. But if you put too many stitches in a row, then it's going to go wonky on you and it's not going to lay flat. So we're just going to see how she goes here, but definitely put, the 2 stitches on that first corner. All right, let's go right into here, and we're going to do, remember I said this one, I want this back because it's just crocheting over too many strands just gets annoying and it looks dumb. Okay, all right, so I've got one there. I want to go in here. So this is number 2. And then this is going to be number 3. Now the other tip that I have is this. When you're putting a border on, don't just pick up and go through one strand. It will pull your work and it will look sloppy. Okay, so make sure that when you're going into the border, go through 2 strands. Okay, so now we've got 3. And I'm just going to pull that tail a little bit tighter. 4, 5. And see how that's looking nice and neat. That corner looks a little odd because when we come around, we're going to join into that corner, but we'll take care of that when we get there. Okay, so we're going to keep going. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this right here, we got to make sure we go through 2 strands. I don't want to go through 1 like I just almost did. Okay, see, I'm going through 2 strands. Single crochet. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 9 right here. And then 10. Like I said, just take your time because you want it to look good. 11, 12. See, I'm already up to 13. 13. Now I'm going to check this. This might be too many stitches. It is. Okay, see how it's going wonky here? I'm glad this happened. Now you can understand what I'm saying. It's all about your judgment. You're just going to have to really use your judgment on this because again, we're working with 2 different stitches on the ends. So I took out one of those. I'm just going to take out one. And that way my yarn's going to look better. Yeah, see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 6, 7, 8, 11, I'm going to have 12. 12. Okay, so I'm down, and that looks fine. And remember, it's going to look a little off because you're sticking that other color into the ends, but once you get the second row on, it all evens out because the border has two rows. So let's continue. Now we're in our corner, so we're going to put 3 stitches in. So we've got the 1, so we're going to put 2 more. 2, so we can turn and that'll keep it square. Okay, now here we go again. Now we're at the bottom, so we should be able to see a little bit easier, not much, but just a little bit easier our stitches. So, and here we should have 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oops, I don't like that. See, there's a hole there, so I'm going to pick up one of these loops down here just so that it doesn't look like a gaping hole. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and into the corner is 12. Okay, so that's 12. Now, when you cover these tails, just go ahead and clip them. Keep your scissors handy. Okay, so now I have to put 2 more single crochets into the corner. 1, 2. Okay, let's count and see how many we had here. So we want to make it even. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That's what we had, 13. Okay, so we've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. So we're at the corner again. I'll see that's laying flat, and that's exactly what you want. You don't want it to lay square. Okay, so now I'm going to pull this one. I'm going to just go ahead and just weave this one instead of going over it. It was just too hard, and it doesn't need to cause us any grief. Weaving tails is always, you know, such a drag anyway. It's like nobody wants to do it. We all have to do it, but I'm just going to weave that one. Okay, so I'm at the corner, so I got to put 2 more stitches in here. And then this one's going to count as a 1 here. And then 2. And then 3. And then 4. 10, 11. Okay, and then I'm going to pick up this last corner stitch here, and I'm just going to slip stitch that to join. Okay. You know what? Don't do that. I'm sorry, that's not what the pattern says to do. Excuse me. Go ahead and do a single crochet into that one, the number 12, which is also going to start with number 1. Okay, so see, now you've got your border. Okay, and now we're going to go ahead and we're going to put 3 into the same stitch. And I know this black is kind of hard to see, guys, so that's okay, because you can do the rest on your own. All right, just go ahead and put your single crochet all the way around, and then at the last one, yes, you can slip stitch to join and weave your tails, and you have made a beautiful coaster set that anyone would appreciate. Just give it to them in their favorite colors and they'll love you for it. Okay, happy crocheting. See you tomorrow.